The Tennessee Titans signed a new quarterback on Thursday, but they told us their real quarterback is Cam Ward. I'll explain on today's edition of Locked On Titans.
You are Locked On Titans, your daily Tennessee Titans podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the Locked On Titans podcast. I am your host, Tyler Rowland, Titans fans. Today's edition of the Locked On Titans podcast is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. On today's show, we have got a ton of Tennessee Titans news over the last 24 to 36 hours. The Titans signed a new quarterback on Thursday, and it confirms that Cam Ward is quarterback one. I'll explain that. Plus, who's Cam Ward going to throw to? We'll talk about why the Titans should be interested in Cooper Kupp for the right price. And finally, the Titans' offensive line is set as well. I'll tell you who will be blocking for Cam Ward. And the Titans signed another defensive lineman as well in Dre'Mont Jones. So we're going to go over all of the recent signings, what they mean, on today's free agency week one recap show. Before I get into it, I do want to thank you for making the Locked On Titans podcast your first listen each and every day. Remember, Monday through Friday, Tennessee Titans content all year round, always for free. You're not going to beat that anywhere else. Make sure that you get subscribed, stay subscribed. It's your team every day. Speaking of every day, shout out to my everydayers out there tuning in Monday through Friday. Couldn't do it without you guys. If you aren't an everydayer, you need to be one, because this time of year, there's always breaking news to go over. The draft is right around the corner, and I'm going to have a mock draft Monday ready for you guys to start next week with Cam Ward at number one and exactly what it's going to look like. But again, I think the Tennessee Titans told us with their free agent signing on Thursday that Cam Ward is quarterback one. The Titans have signed Brandon Allen as their backup quarterback. It's a one-year deal for Brandon Allen. I bet it's $2 to $3 million at most. Likewise, Mason Rudolph goes back to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So interesting that the Titans backup for a year is gone. They bring in their new backup. It's Brandon Allen. Now, here's a couple of things to know about Brandon Allen. Allen's going to be 33 years old in September. So starting this season, he's going to be 33 years old. In his career, he has started 10 games. He went 2-8 in those games. He has played in his career in 18 games total. And that's over the course of 6 years. He came into the NFL as a 27. This is when he got his opportunity. He was on some practice squads and stuff like that. But he finally got his first opportunity to start games in the NFL in 2019, his first official season in the NFL. And now it's 2024. And during that time, he's played in 18 games. Again, started 10, went 2-8. The point of all of this is 33 years old, 2-8 in his starts, 18 games in 6 seasons, 6 years. Brandon Allen is not a starting quarterback. Brandon Allen is not somebody who you say him and Will Levis are competing to be quarterback one. This isn't like a Jameis Winston or a Gardner Minshew or a Mac Jones who went to San Francisco, or a Zach Wilson who went to Miami, or a Carson Wentz even. Like, this is not a... Remember, I had a couple of different paths the Titans were going to go down with quarterback. Either they were going to get a backup quarterback that was a clear backup to a young player, or they get a compete with Will Levis type player, or they get a veteran player like a Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Sam Darnold, or they trade for Derek Carr or Kirk Cousins, something like that. And then it's the Titans are going with this veteran as their starting quarterback for the season. The path that they chose is clear out of those 3 paths. Brandon Allen is a pure backup. You cannot sell Brandon Allen, and the Titans aren't going to try to sell Brandon Allen as their starting quarterback in 2025. He is a backup. And that means that it is obvious and it is clear that Cam Ward is QB1 for the Titans. If you don't want to accept that, then I'm sorry. It's going to be kicking and screaming and crying for you all the way up to the draft. Because the Titans have told us what they're going to do. And it's no coincidence that this comes after last Friday, Cam Ward having his meeting with the Tennessee Titans in Nashville. It is clear that coming out of that, they have said, we're going with the Washington Commanders path. We're going to sign 1 year, plug a hole, fill a spot, signings at most spots. We're going to get our quarterback in here and we're going to build around them. And a lot of people right now are saying, Will Levis is still on thing. I hope you guys realize Will Levis is not going to be around by the time the season kicks off. Either they're going to trade him during the draft to a team that didn't get a quarterback that they wanted for a 6th round, 7th round pick, or they're going to trade him in training camp or during the summer when a quarterback gets hurt or another team wants to take a look at someone else. Or we get to the season, I think there's a good chance that he would be cut. Because you have Cam Ward at QB1, and then you have Brandon Allen, who's going to be the veteran quarterback behind him to help Cam Ward. And why would Brandon Allen be good in that role? Well, because he has history with Brian Callahan. 3 seasons in Cincinnati. 2020, 2021, the Super Bowl year, and then 2022. 3 years in Cincinnati with Brian Callahan. So, Brandon Allen knows what Brian Callahan wants from the quarterback position. Brandon Allen knows the offense better than just about any other backup quarterback could possibly know it. So Brandon Allen's going to be your QB2. Now, you could say Will Levis will have a chance to compete for the backup quarterback spot with Brandon Allen, but I'm sorry, I just don't buy Cam Ward and Will Levis as the quarterback room for the Titans this year. And maybe they keep 3 quarterbacks. Brian Callahan and any offense he's been associated with significantly, basically from the Bengals to now, they don't carry 3 quarterbacks. So I think it's obvious now. And look, it's been a roller coaster of a week. Cam Ward, not Cam Ward, trade down, Cam Ward. But coming out of the first week of free agency, it is blatantly obvious that the Tennessee Titans are taking Cam Ward. And not only that, but pretty much everybody who covers the team, no matter whether it's, what I do, whether it's beat reporters, no matter what, whoever covers the team, everyone seems pretty convinced now that the pick is going to be Cam Ward at number 1. And going forward throughout the rest of the offseason, I am going to operate as if Cam Ward is going to be QB1 for the Tennessee Titans in 2025. Cam Ward is our guy. And I also just want to say this is the last thing that I address. And I hate that I have to do this. Maybe I shouldn't do it at all, but I feel compelled. There are going to be people out there who just always do whatever they can to try to crap on me, to try to hate. No matter what I do, no matter what I say, there are going to be people out there who take the opportunity to try to hate on me. But I have consistently said, anyone who pays any attention to anything I have to say, especially my everydayers out there, I have said consistently throughout the offseason, my preference is a trade back. But if the Titans decide to go with quarterback at number 1 overall, I am fully committed and understand, and I'm ready to ride. And it's clear that they're taking Cam Ward. And just like I said, I am fully ready to ride. Let's go, baby. Cam Ward is a Tennessee Titan. But who's going to catch the freaking ball? We need to talk about wide receiver right now. First, I want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, America's #1 sportsbook. March Madness is here, and FanDuel is giving you a chance to get in on the action like never before. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's 200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories, even who's cutting down the nets. Me personally, I can't lie to you guys. I love going chalk in the tournament. Cinderella stories and upsets are fun, but more often than not, the favorite ends up winning. And I can back the favorites with spreads, totals, game props. I could bet all tournament long, and the FanDuel app is simple to use, and when I win, I get paid instantly. So visit FanDuel.com to get in on the college hoops action all tournament long. Titans fans, let's continue today's edition of the Locked On Titans podcast. We talked about the quarterback situation. Whether you like it or not, Cam Ward is your quarterback of the future. I personally am super hype. I already got my girl doing the zombie land. We're in here. We're Cam Ward family now, baby. He's going to lead us to the promised land. And personally, Cam Ward is the franchise savior until he isn't going forward for me. So do what you want with that information. But he's got to throw to somebody. And we know Calvin Ridley's there. We talked about Van Jefferson being a signing for the Tennessee Titans. Look, Van Jefferson is replacing NWI, in my opinion. That's the replacement. Van Jefferson is a wide receiver 4. All right, you have Calvin Ridley, who is your wide receiver 1. In a perfect world, Calvin Ridley would be your wide receiver 2. Like if the Titans had a true dominant number 1 receiver, like an A.J. Brown, and then Calvin Ridley is their number 2, and then you draft a slot wide receiver like a Xavier Restrepo or an Isaiah Bond or an Emeka Egbuka. You draft a slot guy like that. Now your wide receiver group is nasty, and Cam Ward is a dog, and you can go win a Super Bowl and all of that stuff, right? Well, the Titans aren't quite there, so let's set our expectations a little bit lower. Calvin Ridley is your number 1 wide receiver. He's probably a low-end wide receiver. I think realistically, Calvin Ridley is probably 20 to 30 in terms of best wide receivers in the NFL. Probably closer to 30. It's probably 25 to 30. So a low-end wide receiver 1. But that's what the Titans have to operate with now. So if Van Jefferson is wide receiver 4 and Bryce Oliver is wide receiver 5 and Calvin Ridley is wide receiver 1, then you need 2 other spots filled. Now, again, you could talk about Treylon Burks. Treylon Burks is wide receiver 2 or 3. I don't want to talk about Treylon Burks. Like I said last offseason, Treylon Burks is a ghost to me. Treylon Burks is a ghost. He does not exist. He's a figment of our imagination. I am not doing any planning of my roster and my moves based on, oh, well, you got Treylon Burks. No, you don't. Get him out. I want Treylon Burks cut. He's going to be $4.5 million on the salary cap, whether he plays or whether he's cut. There's nothing you can do about it. It's the last year of his contract. It's dead. Get rid of him. Just cut him. Just cut him. All right? But either way, the Titans need 2 more wide receivers. I don't think that the Tennessee Titans should take 2 wide receivers in the draft. And if they do, it's going to be a wide receiver early that they actually expect to contribute in year 1, and then a wide receiver on day 3 who's really just a roster bubble special teams guy. You can't count on, you're not getting Puka Nacua and Amon-Ra St. Brown all the time. Like, it's very rare that you find a wide receiver on day 3 in round 5, 6, 7 who actually can contribute in a top 3 wide receiver role in his rookie year. Like, that's just not a proper expectation. That's luck. And you can't bet on luck. So if the Titans can reasonably get 1 wide receiver in the draft who can contribute as one of the top 3 wide receivers on the team in 2025, then how do they fill the other top 3 wide receiver role? Well, Cooper Kupp is now a free agent, and Cooper Kupp reportedly wants to figure it out immediately. Heck, by the time you guys hear this, Cooper Kupp could have figured it out. I hate doing podcasts this time of year because I'll do a podcast and literally an hour later, it's stupid and I sound like an idiot because I'm talking about players in a podcast on Friday morning that were signed on Thursday afternoon. Like, I just hate recording podcasts this time of year. So I hope you guys understand. If you hear me say something, it's not like I don't know that so-and-so got signed. It's literally just, I have to record the podcast at some point and put it out. I can't just wait, forever. So besides the behind the scenes crybaby, and for me, sorry guys, move right on. The point is Cooper Kupp would be a great number 2 wide receiver for the Titans for this year. for Cam Ward. Look, does he separate the way that he used to? Absolutely not. Is he going to be as good as he was during his prime with the Rams? Absolutely not. He's going to be 32 years old. But the reality is he could still help a team. The reality is he's a sure-handed guy. He's a smart wide receiver. He can help teach a quarterback how he reads a defense. And I think in turn that could make the quarterback a better player. I think Cooper Kupp would be an incredible safety blanket for Cam Ward. And then you have Calvin Ridley, who's the more explosive guy who can get down the field and take the top off the defense and run those deep posts and those go routes and those deep corner routes that push the defense back. And then you can have Cooper Kupp come underneath and make those catches and keep the chains moving. He would kind of be a perfect combination of DeAndre Hopkins and Tyler Boyd. He would be like a combination of those two guys. And at the end of the day, is it the best outcome? Is it a perfect solution? Is it really what you want? No. But it's an option, and it would at least give Cam Ward a more realistic path towards success to have some better wide receiver play. I think that Amari Cooper is a guy that makes sense. Keenan Allen, lower on my list, but in that same vein, Mike Williams ended up going back to the Los Angeles Chargers, so he's not an option. Stephon Diggs, if he's healthy, maybe that could make some sense. Again, DeAndre Hopkins went to the Ravens. So pickings are getting slim in this veteran market. I've liked originally the Elijah Moore, Rondale Moore, Greg Dortch, Olamide Zaccheaus is my favorite out of that group of guys, those smaller, veteran, quick speed slot guys. You could go with another guy like that and hope to maybe get a more bigger physical option in the draft, like a Savion Williams or like a Trey Harris, for example, or Higgins. You know, like you could go with a bigger guy in the draft. I would prefer that personally. But if you want to go with a smaller guy in the draft, then you can't sign Rondale Moore, Elijah Moore, Olamide Zaccheaus, Greg Dortch. You can't do that. So, like, where do you go from there? Again, the options are very, very slim for the Titans, which is why ultimately I think they should go get one of these veterans on a one-year deal. Just outbid other people. You got the money. You know, it's not. Somebody said to me the other day about Dre'Mont Jones that it was an overpay, that they overpaid. And Dre'Mont Jones, who we're going to talk about in a second, is a one-year, $10 million deal. And I just do not believe that you can overpay on a one-year deal. It's 1 year. Like, overpaying to me is about multi-year deals, because the real risk of overpaying a player in free agency is 2 years from now, you're going to have to eat a bunch of dead cap, and it's going to hurt your ability to make your team 2 years from now better. But when you're on a one-year deal, it's just this year. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't out. Hurting you in the future, preventing you from signing in 2024, hurting your team in 2026 is the bust. That's the worst possible outcome, is this player who we only had for a year is still hurting our financial situation 2 years from now. That's the bad outcome. If Dre'Mont Jones sucks and it's a complete bust of a signing, well, it was only 1 year. He just filled a spot. That's the thing about all of these Titan signings. Van Jefferson, Kevin Zietler, Dre'Mont Jones, Cody Barton. Barton got a little bit bigger of a deal, but once we get the details, I don't think it'll be too crazy. My point ultimately is, though, that outside of Dan Moore, none of the signings the Tennessee Titans have made are punitive in the future. Therefore, I can't hate them. I can't hate them because I'm only worried about the Titans' future. We know they're not winning a Super Bowl this year. So what if you have a one-year deal that doesn't work? I'm just not that concerned about it. You know what I mean? Like that at the end of the day. So if you go get Cooper Kupp, or you go get Amari Cooper, or you go get Keenan Allen, or you go get Stephon Diggs if he's healthy, and they suck, well, it was a one-year deal. And you didn't need that cap space for anything else. It was just going to burn a hole in your pocket. So why not? Give Cam Ward a veteran wide receiver to throw to go along with Calvin Ridley and a rookie. As long as you don't hurt yourself in the future, what's the big deal? What's the problem? Now, I don't think Cam Ward will want to come to the Titans because they're not going to be a contender. So, doesn't make a lot of sense. And honestly, if the Titans don't do it because he gets too expensive, somebody's offering him a multi-year deal worth, $15 to $18 million a year, then fine, pass. I'm fine with that too. But just saying, I would like another veteran receiver for Cam Ward to throw to. But more importantly, Cam Ward has his offensive line set now. Let's talk about that. Do want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, spending, all in one place. So you stop just managing your money and you start building wealth. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track your spending, even plan long-term goals. Managing your money with a partner is smoother than ever. You can track your shared and personal accounts. Again, you can set goals and stay on the same page without any stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNFL for half off your first year. Titans fans, let's cap off today's edition of the Locked On Titans podcast, recapping the first 4 days of free agency so far for the Tennessee Titans. The biggest domino of them all is the backup quarterback signing of Brandon Allen, which to me is a clear indication that the Titans are taking Cam Ward. They're taking Cam Ward, guys. You can argue with me in the comments all you want, but they are taking Cam Ward. All right? Just deal with it, you know? And if you wanted Cam Ward, then start your celebration, order your jersey. Let's get hype. Quarterback of the future is here. But we also talked about who he's going to throw to and why I think the Titans need to add a veteran on a one-year contract. It fits the mold of their offseason, and it gives Cam Ward a competent receiving core at minimum. But now let's talk about this offensive line, because the Tennessee Titans made a big-time signing, quite frankly, late on Wednesday night. Kevin Zietler, 35-year-old guard, added to the Titans. We talked about Zeitler. He was 35 years old. So I'm like, why would the Titans do this? But it's a one-year, $9 million deal. So going along with all of what the Titans have talked about or shown us so far, they just want one-year placeholder deals. Let's get as good of a player as we can possibly get on a one-year contract and evaluate that spot after the year. We're not going to be able to hit all of these things in the draft. We're not going to be able to get a long-term solution for every need in the draft. Let's just punt on some of these, get a one-year placeholder to try to make our team as competitive as they can be. But I'm not giving out any future money. And Kevin Zietler, while being 35, fits that mold. Why am I worried about Kevin Zietler being 35 if he's on a one-year deal? They're admitting we cannot solve the starting guard position in a meaningful way through the draft. So let's get a solid, average starting offensive lineman that we don't have to commit future money to. That's what we're doing. And look, I say solid, average starting offensive lineman, but some of the numbers about Kevin Zietler, I mean, he is more than that. Quite honestly, he's been more than solid. Last season, Kevin Zietler allowed a 5.1% pressure rate. He only allowed a pressure on 5.1% of his dropbacks. It was the fifth lowest among right guards. So one of the top 5 pass blocking guards in the NFL last year, Kevin Zietler for the Detroit Lions. And like all the other signings that we've seen from the Titans, whether it be Dan Moore, whether it be Cody Barton, whether it be Van Jefferson, whether it be Kevin Zietler, his durability. Look at this. This is the games that he's played in his career. 16, 12, 12, 16, 16, 16, 16, 15, 16, 17, 15, 15, 16. He made the Pro Bowl with Baltimore 2 years ago. Again, durability. Durability. is absolutely critical. So is Kevin Zietler a Pro Bowler? Is Kevin Zietler an All-Pro? No. Is Kevin Zietler the long-term answer? No. But he's a great one-year spot filler to allow the Titans to try to attack other things in the NFL draft. And guard, quite frankly, is a position that I'm okay with approaching it that way. So now you have Dan Moore at left tackle. And by the way, I told you guys on yesterday's show, and some people still didn't want to believe it, but Jim Wyatt, the Titans' own team reporter, put out an article announcing the Dan Moore signing and said Dan Moore will continue playing left tackle for the Tennessee Titans. This isn't Mike Vrabel, where every roster move and decision that they make, they're going to hide and protect and not let us know. No, the Titans are signaling to you, every local beat reporter, multiple national beat reporters, the own team journalists are saying Dan Moore is the left tackle. So now you have an average left tackle, average to below average, I would say. You have above average starting left guard. You have an average to above average starting center. Let's see how Cush looks coming back from the Achilles. You have an average starting right guard, and you have an above average starting right tackle. You're average or above average at every spot. That should be the best offensive line that the Tennessee Titans have had in quite some time. It's not a significant improvement. I'll be honest with you. I don't think it's going to be a significant improvement. I think the Titans are still going to be 16 to 22 in terms of like offensive line rankings. But that's better than the bottom that they've been at the last couple of years. And quite frankly, quarterback play can help that too. Cam Ward being more mobile, having better instincts, learning to get rid of the ball quicker. I think that will help the offensive line to where Will Levis really hurt the offensive line last year because they look better under Cam Ward or under Mason Rudolph. Now, the Titans also brought in Dre'Mont Jones. And I like Dre'Mont Jones, obviously the Ohio State connection there. There's been some misconception about who Dre'Mont Jones is as a player, though, in my opinion. And he's being signed as an edge rusher, but I would call Dre'Mont Jones more of a defensive lineman than an edge rusher. I think that Dre'Mont Jones doesn't really solve the edge rusher problem. To me, Dre'Mont Jones is more of like a Danico Autry type, where he's going to play a little bit on the outside, but he's going to play inside a ton too. That's something I think that people need to take into account here. He's a guy who's played up and down the defensive line throughout most of his career. He's not just a pure, he's 6'3", 280 pounds. He's bigger than Arden Key or Arden Key's longer. Yeah. Or Harold Landry by far, but like he's played 609 snaps in 2024 on the D line, with the majority of that coming at the edges. Right outside linebacker, left outside linebacker. That's what he did with the Seahawks. But if you go back further into his career, he's had a lot of success on the inside, like left end, defensive tackle, rushing from the interior. In 2022, when he had an excellent year, by the way, he did the majority of his snaps on the inside. He rushed at like left end, right defensive tackle, and left defensive tackle for over 200 snaps. He's a guy who doesn't need to just play on the edge. He needs to play all over the line. So I love the defensive line addition. Dre'Mont Jones had a better pass rush win percentage from ESPN per ESPN's analytics than Max Crosby last year. Dre'Mont Jones was 12.9% and Max Crosby was 12.7%. Now, Dre'Mont Jones played a lot less snaps than Max Crosby, to be fair, but Dre'Mont Jones had as many pressures last year as Jeffrey Simmons. So just take all that into account. Dre'Mont Jones isn't an answer long-term, but a really good one-year spot filler for the Titans defensive line. So we know Cam Ward's QB1. They need more at wide receiver. The O-line is set and the D-line is coming together. Mock draft Monday coming up, unless we get a bunch of big news over the weekend for the Titans, a big trade, some more big signings, stuff like that, then most likely what we'll be looking at is a mock draft Monday for me, where I go over what the Titans draft should look like now that we're through 1 week of free agency. But with that being said, that is going to do it for me today, folks. As always, I am your host, Tyler Rowland, and this was Locked On Titans.